This is part 2 of 8.3 in Circle Basics, and we're going to talk about central and inscribed angles. A central angle is an angle with its vertex at the center of the circle, and the two sides are radii. So here's what that might look like. So we've got two radii, and this central angle, we might use a variable such as theta to represent what does this measure. Then we have an arc is a segment of the circumference of the circle. So this arc right here is just that segment of the circle itself. And it's also measured in the same way that the angles are. In fact, it says the central angle and its corresponding arc have the same measure. And so if this central angle is theta degrees, then this arc is also theta. If it's 30, then it's 30. If it's 70, then it's 70, and so on and so forth. So inscribed angle. An inscribed angle is an angle with its vertex on the circle, and the sides of the angle are chords of the circle. So it might look something like that. And that would be the inscribed angle. And its intercepted arc is the arc formed by the inscribed angle. So this time, if the angle of the inscribed angle is theta, the measure of that angle is theta. Let's make note here that the measure of the angle is half the measure of the arc. And so if this is theta, the arc over here is 2 times theta. So if the inscribed angle is 60 degrees, then the intercepted arc is 120. If it's 40, then it's 80, and so on and so forth. The measure of the arc is double the measure of the angle. It's just another way of saying the same thing, that half of 2 theta is theta. All right, and then we've got the minor arc is an arc that is less than 180 degrees. So the arc that I showed up here above, that would be considered a minor arc because it's less than 180 degrees. But if I go all the way around here, that would be considered a major arc because that's an arc that is more than 180 degrees. So if it's more than half of a circle, and half a circle, by the way, is called a semicircle, then it would be considered a major arc. If it's less than a semicircle, then it would be a minor arc. The arc addition postulate says that the measure of the arc formed by 2 adjacent arcs is the sum of the measure of the 2 arcs. And we'll see an example of that here in example 2. So here, might say that it's asking us to find the measure of angle POQ, which is this one right here. So we'll call that theta. And that's what we're looking for to start here. And then what's the measure of arc PQ? If you're writing that by hand, you use an arc to show the arc. So first of all, we know that since this inscribed angle is 62 degrees, the measure of arc PQ is 2 times the measure of angle PRQ, which is the inscribed angle. And since the measure of the inscribed angle is 62, you take 62 degrees, then the measure of arc PQ is 124 degrees. But then if we look at the measure of POQ, because this is the central angle, its measure is going to be the same. It's theta, then it's theta. So we then can say this is 124 degrees, and so is this 124 degrees. And then when we look at example 2, we know that the measure of x, y, the arc xy, plus the measure of yz of arc yz, plus the measure of xz, again arc xz, all of that, because it's a full circle, then that would be 360 degrees. So if I take the measure of angle xy, the measure of, not angle, but arc xy, would be equal to 360 degrees minus the measure of angle the arc xyz, also minus the measure of arc xz. And then we can just substitute those in. 360 degrees minus 110, that's arc yz, that's this one right here, it's 110. And then arc xz, that would be 146. And so we plug that into our calculator. We see 360 minus 110 minus 146, and we get 104. And so that's the measure of arc x, y. However, this right here is 104 degrees, but you say, hey, I don't see 104 degrees in here. Well, we're looking not for that arc degree, but for the inscribed angle. And remember that the inscribed angle is half, and so we take the measure of the measure of angle yzx is equal to 104 divided by 2, because it's the inscribed angle of the arc, the intercepted arc. And so that would be the measure of an angle yzx is equal to 52. And that would be option A. All right, work hard in your assignments, and I'm sure you'll do great. Thank you.